Hello, this is 𝗙𝗿𝗱𝗱 and you're watching The Shift Asia.
I'm Serene.
According to Ecobusiness, with the growing population and worsening climate conditions in Southeast Asia, food demand is expected to rise by 40% by 2050. This, combined with climate-related disasters like El Nino, will lead to reduced crop yields and food insecurity in Malaysia. Grow Asia, an initiative established to improve food production and the livelihoods of smallholders farmers, proposes a two-pronged approach to addressing food security, promoting agricultural innovation, and engaging young farmers in sustainable practices.
Now, founded in 2018, Qarbotech Malaysia is a multi-award-winning nanotechnology-enabled agritech startup specializing in photosynthesis enhancement technology that increases crop yield, speeds growth, and improves fruit quality. What started as a solution for home gardening evolved to address food security challenges and climate change on an industrial and global scale, winning several awards and recognitions. Their flagship product, QarboGrow, is a biocompatible organic compound that increases crop yields by up to 60% while reducing environmental impact. Today, we have Dr. Suraya, the founder and chief scientist of Qarbotech herself, to tell us more.
Hi, very good to see you again, Dr. Suraya.
Yes, thank you, 𝗙𝗿𝗱𝗱.
And so QarboTech recently celebrated its 6-year anniversary. So congratulations,
Thank you so
6 tahun.
Yes.
So let's go back to the beginning and how did it all start with you?
Yeah, so that's right. 6 years ago, I incorporated Qarbotech. The reason was because there was an innate desire in me to produce something that would be beneficial for society. The reason is because there's a backstory to it.
Right.
For the first 10 years of my career, I had been focusing on research on, really high-tech products.
Right.
There was no demand for it in the market. It's just like pushing, we have a great tech, things like that.
Okay.
By the way, my technology is nanotechnology.
Right.
So there was always, after 10 years of doing that, I just felt there was no way, Malaysia was not ready. I had to change my strategy.
Right.
And that's how I sort of like pivoted. And and I found a solution that can help the agriculture sector. And I was able to obtain a grant from UPM because I am a lecturer from University Putra Malaysia. And we obtained a grant to test, to do a market validation. Did people want this thing that we had,
Right.
which was a photosynthesis enhancer? And it turned out that people were interested.
Right.
It turned out that it helped them grow better plants. And so that's when I incorporated Qarbotech. And I was a solo founder in the beginning. I was looking for my team, but I found my team 3 years later.
Right.
So in between then, I was busy trying to grow trying to produce our MVP and trying to collect more testimonials until I found my team.
You were also experimenting, right, in your house?
Yes.
Okay. Your garden. Tell us
Yes,
about the garden.
Yes. So I incorporated Qarbotech in 2018, and then COVID came in around 2020, and I was like, I can't just sit and do nothing. So I thought this would be a good time to see if I could, if there was interest from people on social media.
Right.
So I created an Instagram account, Harvest, and really tried to engage with the home gardening community. And there was a lot of interest during COVID times.
Right.
People were so interested in plants. Everyone was growing things. And so there was a lot of interest in this new product, photosynthesis enhancer, and that's how I got to know the community. That's how the home gardening segment really started to
grow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, because from what you were saying, harvest, right?
Yeah.
So you first started with the harvest formulation.
Yes, that's right.
And then I know after that you have other products as well. So
Yes.
how has it evolved since then?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, this photosynthesis enhancer that we have,
Yeah.
it was originally for agriculture.
Okay.
However, because I was a solo founder, it was very difficult for me to, go and talk to farmers and things like that. So I
Yes.
knew that. Meanwhile, while I wait for my team who would be able to do that, I better do something, and I decided to focus on home gardening. So
okay.
𝗙𝗿𝗲, which was originally for, the name is for harvest fast. So then it became
Harvest.
𝗙𝗲𝗲.
Oh, okay.
But I just used the name, and even for the home gardening, I didn't change the name.
Right.
And so we have 𝗙𝗲𝗲, which is our first product, and then I improved the formulation. And 𝗙𝗲𝗲 is used for vegetables and things like that. But during COVID, there was a lot of interest in ornamental plants. All the aroids, the monstera.
Harvest
Yes.
So hence, I developed something a little bit stronger called 𝗙𝗲𝗲 Plus.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And then, after Qarbotech was able to penetrate the agriculture segment, then we have a new product called QarboGrow. The reason is because 𝗙𝗲𝗲 and 𝗙𝗲𝗲 Plus, they are ready to use, ready to spray.
Right.
Yeah. So for farms, then they will use QarboGrow in a more concentrated solution, which they can then dilute and use with their other products.
So one of your flagship products is a QarboGrow, right? And so you were saying it helps to increase crop yields, boosts growth cycles, improves food quality, and brings greater resilience among crops. So tell us how it works. So this is around your nanotechnology.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes, right. So plants, they photosynthesis is very fundamental to them. Photosynthesis is like us breathing, right? Very fundamental to plant life. However, photosynthesis is inefficient. Only a very small portion of the light energy from the sun is used for photosynthesis. So what researchers have been trying to do in the past was they tried to change the genetics of the plant to help the plant photosynthesize better. However, if you can imagine with genetic engineering and things like that, very costly, very complicated. So there's no real advancement in that area. However, now we have a product which behaves similarly to chlorophyll, which is what is needed for photosynthesis. And by simply spraying onto the leaves, the material, the product, will absorb more light and pass it over to the leaf to photosynthesize better. So our photosynthesis rate increases, which my co-researchers from Faculty of Agriculture say the rate of increase is unprecedented. They've never seen it before. So this is why it's quite special.
Right, take me back to science class. So exciting.
So you said the difference between 𝗙𝗲𝗲 and 𝗙𝗲𝗲 Plus. So 𝗙𝗲𝗲 Plus is for ornamental, more delicate plants.
For ornamental plants, which you won't really be eating. Because 𝗙𝗲𝗲 is completely organic. 𝗙𝗲𝗲 Plus has additional additive to make it work even stronger. Because the ornamental plants, like the aroids, they like strong interaction with the sunlight, and so that's how it helps them.
I'm thinking of my garden now. It does have a lot of exposure to sun. Now, so you also recently raised $700,000 right, in seed funding and grants from 500 Global, Temasek Foundation, and Khazanah Nasional. So what are your key milestones, I guess, and action plans moving forward?
So we raised our seed 1 round in August 2023 this year, and we have closed our seed 2 round, and we are using the funds for expansion. We now have a pilot plant to produce the product,
Okay.
from 2,000 liters per month to 100,000
Wow,
liters.
okay.
So
Right.
yes.
Okay.
So we've already pindah to Puchong.
Okay.
We went to Puchong because initially Qarbotech was renting a small lab in UPM. Yeah, so now we have
you have to go a bit
place.
mass, a bit more commercial in that sense. Yes. Okay.
Yes. And we will be doing we are doing a lot of testing.
Okay.
We need certifications and things like that, which are quite costly.
Yeah.
And so now we have the resources to do that.
Right.
We have resources for more manpower. We have grown our team. Now we have around 20 plus staff.
Yeah.
And so that we can do the commercialization more effectively.
Right.
And we have a new IP.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that will really help us because it will be protected in Southeast Asia, in more countries.
Right.
So that will help us in our expansion.
I think even with your investors, right? I mean, you've got Singapore and all that sort of thing. There are obviously people seeing this an opportunity across the region and further as well, right? Okay.
I'd just like to ask, can you share some of your, as you know, you do have a lot of impact in various industries. Can you share some of that impact in both the agriculture and horticulture space, and how do you actually measure? Yes.
Right. So the most benefit that farmers in the agriculture sector will experience is the improvement in yield. This is the first problem that they have, especially in the current climate crisis, where now we have unpredictable weather. If suddenly you have unexpected harsh weather, this will really lead to a drop in production. So when farmers use our product, they will be able to either increase their yield under normal weather or maintain their yield during unfavorable weather conditions. So one of the impact that how we measure is really looking at the improvement in yield.
Right.
And of course, our home gardeners, when they will enjoy using it at home, and I think that is our priority as well for the home gardeners, for enjoyment, for pleasure.
I see.
You know, I guess like when you talk about from the farmer's perspective, right? So one of the things that you're actually looking at is, of course, food security, right? I mean, that's one thing when you've got bigger yield and all that, and resilient agriculture, right? What other aspects does Qarbotech play in when it comes to the whole picture of sustainability? What else do you plan to accomplish?
Yeah. So going back to photosynthesis, and this is something that we don't really talk about because it's still relatively new, is the impact of photosynthesis enhancement on climate, for the climate and for carbon capture, for carbon capture.
Yes.
So this is something that we really want to explore because it has huge potential. And however, it's still new in Malaysia, so we're still exploring this carbon capture, carbon credit, and aspect. However, what Qarbotech does is we have the technology to produce what's called our quantum dots. This is a special material. This is so this material is what's special about us and our ability to mass produce it. And this material has many applications, Frida. One of them is photosynthesis enhancement. That's only one application. But because of its special characteristics, it has other applications. For example, it is also used for sensors to improve the sensitivity of nanosensors, sensors which can sense really small amounts. So this is important in maybe diagnostics. So we have proof of concepts, and I'd like to just do a shout out if people are interested in we are interested to explore further, and other applications, for example, to improve the efficiency of solar cells. Yes. So yes. So we also have proof of concepts, and we're looking for partners to develop them further.
What sort of partners?
Industrial partners. Yes.
All right. So I'm just putting it out there as well, right?
And just to say, so that the quantum dots, represents the Q of Qarbotech.
It does,
right?
yes.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Qarbotech, people think carbohydrate, but it comes from the word carbon.
Right.
Carbon, because our raw material is is byproduct of agriculture. So it's
yeah.
carbon, but Q
Okay.
nod towards
It's
our quantum
agricultural
dots.
waste.
It is, yes,
Oh.
yes.
So that's interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
sustainable.
See,
Yeah,
so
it's organic.
from all you've done, so what strategies have you actually implemented to scale CarboGrow production? I know that you were saying you're going to have a new plant.
Yes.
And then what other things have you been doing maybe to scale production? I know you were planning to do it not just Malaysia, not just Singapore, but elsewhere as well.
Yes. So part of our strategy is really to test the market and to find the sweet spot, because believe it or not, you would think that all plants will benefit, right? However, it also depends on the farms. One of our trials, which we quickly found that perhaps we shouldn't focus so much on at the time, was aquaponics. So aquaponics is like hydroponics.
Right.
However, they they have fish underneath.
Yeah.
And so when we spray the product and onto vegetables, the vegetables want to grow faster, right? However, the fish aren't able to provide sufficient nutrients, right? So so maybe not aquaponics. So we quickly tested other segments, and for example, paddy. Paddy absolutely loves CarboGrow. We see improvements in yield from 30 to 60% for paddy, which is really amazing.
Right.
So that is part of our strategy on how we are commercializing, because yes, now we can we have scaled up production, but there needs to be a demand there, so we know which segments to focus on. And
30 to 60%,
Yeah,
right?
for
So
paddy.
and then so you're talking about paddy. So Rice International PLT warns that Malaysia's food security could be threatened by the aging farmer population and declining interest among the young people in agriculture. And it's not just Malaysia, I'm sure all farm growers around the world, right? So how is, I guess, Qarbotech encouraging young people to join sustainable agriculture and promoting innovative farming practices? How do you think we'll be able to get the young people interested?
So young people, they are interested in technology.
Young people.
One of us. So they are more interested in technologies. For example, the easiest I can give is drones. Right? This is really something that pulls in the young people because they're interested. They can learn how to use the drones and things like that. And more farms are introducing drones. And what's good about our product is it is very stable. It can be added to any other agriculture inputs, any fertilizer, any pesticide.
Right.
So what the farmers like to do is when they spray pesticide, they will also add in our CarboGrow, and then they can spray it together. And believe it or not, using drones is more efficient.
Right.
There's less waste. For the farmers, because most farmers sometimes they think that drone is expensive and they do the manual spraying, but actually drone is quite an effective technology, and so perhaps that is one way. And our product is can be easily used. It's really robust, can be easily integrated into any precision farming or smart farming practices.
I can see how, like, with drone technology, the young ones will be interested in they'll be able to do that. Right?
So I'd like to ask, what emerging technologies or trends in agritech that you are maybe most excited about, and how is Qarbotech maybe positioning yourself to capitalize on these opportunities? Maybe are there any new things you're developing around this trend?
Yes. So one which is very interesting is robotics. That's gaining a lot of interest. Robotics, and another is AI. And this is really interesting because without getting too sciencey.
Thank you. For the non-sciencey people.
Layman.
Yes. So actually our when you spray QarboGrow onto the plants, there will be a response that we cannot see with our naked eye. So you really need to use imaging to, you need to use imaging technology to see what's happening. And so what I'm interested in and what I'm excited about is because we can see this effect through imaging. And so we want to incorporate AI into our data analytics in order to provide more value for our farmers.
Okay. You're also, as you mentioned, a professor at University Putra Malaysia. What was it like for you moving from, academia to business?
Yes.
And then also something, you were actually doing your nanotechnology and not in agriculture in that sense, right? Earlier on, right? So what advice would you would you give to young folks who are interested to go into this space?
So I think it's quite challenging for researchers to move into business. Right? It is very challenging.
Right.
So I think that my advice...
How did you get it right?
Yes. So my advice would be, first and foremost, you must want it. Yes, first and foremost, you must want it because you have to do it as a side hustle. Because you have your main research, but to enter into business, there's so many things that you need to do, so many things that you need to learn, so many things you need to improve about yourself. So you have to do a lot of reading, you have to do a lot of research regarding business, you have to do a lot of research regarding leadership. So I think that is a challenge. But if you want it and you are passionate about it, it doesn't, doing that side hustle it is something that energizes you and is something that you can pursue resiliently because as you've seen even with Qarbotech, it takes years.
And is it important to have co-founders perhaps?
Oh yes, definitely, Frida. Having, no matter how good your product is, if you don't have a team, you won't get anywhere, really. You won't get anywhere. You really need a team. So in order to attract your team, you need to develop yourself and to show leadership, I think.
From all of you, I just want to ask a little bit, what's the difference between other agricultural inputs like fertilizers and QarboGrow and Harvest Plus? Harvest,
So our product is, I would say, a new class of agriculture input. This is because it can't be classified as fertilizer because fertilizer is actually nutrients for the plant. However, our product does not contain nutrients. And for example, pesticides or herbicides, they are to address pests and herbs, which our product does not do. So this is why I say it is a new class of agriculture input. And in fact, when we want to obtain certification for serum, for example, we see, there is no class for photosynthesis.
We create our new class.
So now we have to create our new class.
And it's great. I think it's a great story you've got. It's STEM, it's gone into business. You're a woman, so it's all good, right? Thanks for spending time, and I love this conversation. I've spoken to you many times, and I love what you're doing as well. So thanks again for being with us.
Thank you.
And you've been watching The Shift Asia.